Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the government of Israel planning to keep up its attacks in Gaza until Hamas finally gives up. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of people turned out to protest, pushing for a deal to free the hostages. Here at home, President Donald Trump planning a possible move to fight crime in Chicago and other cities while facing a court action over the firing of a member of the Federal Reserve Board. Our CBN News interview with Democratic Congressman Ritchie Torres, who is standing up not only for the city of New York, but also for the nation of Israel. And our Studio 5 conversation with singer and pastor Mike Jr., a big winner at this year's Stellar Awards, including for Song of the Year. All those stories and more today on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We're going to begin this Wednesday, August 27th in Israel, where the government is determined to press ahead in Gaza until Hamas is defeated. But at the same time, huge demonstrations in Israel Tuesday demanding a deal to free the hostages. CBN's Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl brings us the story from Jerusalem.
Some 350,000 Israelis gathered in a mass rally in Tel Aviv Tuesday evening, calling on the government to make a deal with Hamas to free the hostages. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with his security cabinet Tuesday, but said little about what was discussed, emphasizing the fighting will continue until Hamas gives up.
It started in Gaza and it will end in Gaza. We will not leave these monsters there. We will release all our hostages. We will ensure that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel.
Jonathan Speyer of the Middle East Forum says the war can only end with complete victory for Israel.
My view is that it has to end with the complete destruction of the Islamist Authority in Gaza. Anything less than that would represent a victory for Hamas.
Israel apologized for killing journalists and first responders in an attack on the Nasser hospital in Gaza, but noted 6 others killed in the attack were terrorists. Initial findings said the soldiers mistook the cameras pointed at them from a lookout for hostile elements with guns.
What they encountered in each and every hospital was that Hamas fighters, terrorists, were abusing hospitals for combat activity.
Jonathan Conricus, senior fellow from the Foundation for Defense of Democracy, says Israel's investigation and admission show its adherence to moral principles even in war.
This is one of these rare instances where Israel has an opportunity to acknowledge a mistake and strengthen its credibility by actually taking action and showing that we're serious about our morals and values. And when mistakes happen, we own up to them.
In the U.S., President Trump, who recently said he believes the war will end in a few weeks, is planning ahead. He and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff are set to hold meetings at the White House today to discuss a comprehensive plan to manage Gaza after the war. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here at home, President Donald Trump is talking about sending the National Guard into major cities like Chicago to fight crime, as a new poll shows handling crime is a strength for the president. And a day after Trump fired a Federal Reserve Board member over alleged financial misconduct, the Fed says it will abide by any court ruling of the legality of the move. CBN's George Thomas has the story.
The Federal Reserve says it will go along with whatever the courts decide on whether the president has the legal authority to fire Fed board member Lisa Cook. In a cabinet meeting Tuesday, President Trump insisted that Cook, one of 7 governors on the board, had to be removed over allegations she committed mortgage fraud.
Seems to have had an infraction, and she can't have an infraction. We need people that are 100% above board. And it doesn't seem like she was.
For months, the president has been leaning on Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. While the president appoints Fed governors, economists say the central bank is designed to operate independently from political influence.
Fed independence is very important, and countries that have independent central banks tend to be more prosperous than those that do not.
Reporters asked the president if he is looking for a reason to fire Cook just because he disagreed with her.
Is your administration weaponizing government by digging into the mortgage records of officials you don't like?
No, they're public. I mean, you can find out those records. You can go check out the records yourself.
Cook, a Biden appointee, says she will not resign and has threatened legal action. Trump has reportedly told advisors he wants to move quickly on a replacement and is prepared to go to court over the firing. The case could go to the Supreme Court.
It does seem that there are efforts by some, around the president to, really change the composition of the Fed board here.
While the Fed fight grabs headlines in D.C., Trump continues to say he intends to send the National Guard into cities like Chicago, New York, and others to fight crime. He's already deployed the Guard in Washington, D.C., but Democrats say the move to expand to other cities is unconstitutional.
So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime.
Illinois State Governor J.B. Pritzker is pushing back, insisting there is no emergency that warrants sending troops into the Windy City. George Thomas, CBN News.
Coming up, from public housing to House of Representatives, Bronx Congressman Ritchie Torres, how a rising star in the Democratic Party is standing up for the people of New York and Israel. We're going to hear what he is saying about his stand for the Jewish state when we come back. New York Democratic Congressman Ritchie Torres is an emerging leader and outside of the box thinker in the Democratic Party. He stands firm in his support for the people of Israel while working to build a better community at home. CBN News Capitol Hill correspondent Michelle London sat down with Torres to talk about his stance for the Jewish state and his remarkable journey from public housing to public service.
I'm here in the Bronx where Congressman Torres grew up in public housing, experiencing some good times as well as some hardships. He shared with me his early years, or actually what helped cultivate his love for the people here, eventually leading to his love for public service.
My life has been a journey from public housing in the Bronx to the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. I never thought in my wildest dreams.
At 37, New York Congressman Ritchie Torres has overcome improbable odds.
I spent all my life in the Bronx, all my childhood in poverty. I was raised by a single mother who had to raise three of us on minimum wage, which in the 1990s was $4.25 an hour.
During his early years here in the Throgs Neck houses, Torres also experienced his first ugly encounter with New York City politics. As a child, his severe asthma grew worse as neglected maintenance allowed mold to grow in his family's unit. Meanwhile, millions of dollars poured into a prestigious golf course close by. This lit a fire in Torres to create change, but not before struggling through years of brokenness and inner turmoil.
I had dropped out of college. I found myself struggling with depression, abusing substances. There were moments when I thought of taking my own life.
Even though Torres's world around him had seemingly collapsed, he didn't give up. Just 2 years later, at 24, he'd make history as one of the youngest elected New York City councilmen.
Through the grace of God, with the unwavering support of my mother, that I would overcome these challenges and become the youngest elected official in America's largest city, and then a few years later, become a member of the United States Congress.
And I know so many people can relate to this story. And when you even talk about dropping out of college, not finishing, how has that kind of helped you in some ways to connect more with your constituents and everyday working people?
I know what it's like to face food insecurity and housing insecurity. I know what it's like to struggle with mental illness and substance abuse. These are not abstractions to me. These are realities that I've lived in my own life.
Today, Torres brings that wisdom and on-the-ground life experience to the halls of Congress, fighting to prioritize issues his constituents face in the Bronx 15th District, down to Washington, like housing and an affordability crisis, as well as the open-air drug market. Thousands of miles away from the Bronx, Torres also keeps a close watch on the crisis surrounding the people in a country close to his heart.
When you experience both the complexity and majesty of Israel, of Jerusalem, it has a formative and transformative experience on you. You know, to experience the Old City, Yad Vashem, which is the Holocaust Museum, the Masada, the Gaza envelope.
The congressman has spent the past decade traveling to parts of Israel and tells CBN News a conversation with a local mayor there helped shape his views and unwavering support for its people.
He said to me something that I've never forgotten. He said that the majority of his children struggle with post-traumatic stress because families like his live under the threat of relentless rocket fire. And I come from the Bronx, which can be a rough neighborhood. You know, I have family and friends and neighbors who live in fear of guns and bullets. But no American lives in fear of rockets. Before you rush to judge Israel, you should actually go there, speak to both Israelis and Palestinians, speak to Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs, go to the Old City, go to the Masada, go to Yad Vashem, go to State Road, see the facts on the ground with your own eyes, and I guarantee you, if you have an open heart and an open mind, you will come to realize that the reality of Israel is far more complicated than the caricature that percolates on social media platforms and on college campuses.
Have you received any backlash from your own party on these views, or have they been pretty supportive?
So look, I face hatred from the extremes of both of the political spectrum. There is no topic on which I face more hate, harassment, and even death threats than on the subject of Israel. I've had my office vandalized. I've been ambushed outside my home. My mother's been the target of harassment. There was an activist who said, "You're a genocide mother. You should have aborted your son." I've lost relationships both in my family and friendships because the issue is so emotionally charged. But I feel like I've taken a principled position in favor of what is right.
Torres says he won't allow that violence or hatred to stop him from standing for what's right, reminding Americans that October 7th was a crime against humanity that must never be forgotten and never be repeated.
Do you agree with Netanyahu's handling of some of the ceasefire agreements?
Just like I have criticisms of the American government, I have criticisms of the Israeli government. But I love America and I love Israel. Ask yourself, how would you feel in the face of such overwhelming terror and violence? And how would you expect your government to respond to defend you and the people you love? The primary responsibility for the war in Gaza lies with Hamas. And that's a fact that should never be forgotten. And I feel like if you were Rip Van Winkle and you've been asleep since 2020 and you woke up and you saw the media coverage, you would think that October 7th had never happened. That Israel just one day decided to wage a war of aggression on Palestinians.
I want to kind of switch gears to NYC Democratic mayoral nominee, Zoran Mamdani. With respect to Israel, what are your concerns and how might you work with Mamdani if he wins on issues around Israel and anti-Semitism if he's elected?
I will cooperate with Mayor Mamdani on the issues on which we agree, and then on the issues on which we disagree, we'll have a vigorous debate in the marketplace of ideas. We should strive for constructive debate and dissent without demonization. The story of Israel and the United States is not a story of perfection, it's a story of progress. These are two fundamentally democratic societies that I believe are on the right side of history.
Congressman Torres continues to prioritize bringing home the Israeli hostages who were held captive nearly 700 days ago. Michelle London, CBN News, the Bronx, New York.
Still ahead, and turning our attention to the world of entertainment, we've got a Studio 5 conversation with contemporary gospel singer and pastor Mike Jr., who won big at this year's Stellar Awards, and he has a new mixtape. We're going to hear from him right after this. The 40th Annual Stellar Awards will air nationwide in just a matter of days, and Pastor Mike Jr. is at the top of the awards list, winning all 9 of his nominations, including Song of the Year. This summer, he also premiered a mixtape. It's called Confetti and Conspiracies, the Amen Mixtape. Take a look.
I asked him for a little, he gave me a lot, then just pay the bill.
So we've known you for the last few years, but you've been doing this a whole lot longer.
as far as recording?
No, that's the crazy part. People believe, everybody keeps saying, where does he come from? So in 2009, I started Rock City Church in Birmingham, Alabama. My pastor spoke a word to me that I believe was God. He said, love God, love your family, love your city. And in 10 years, the world will come looking for you. And so I've always wanted to do music. Funny thing is, when you hear Big, when you hear I Got It, when you hear some of the songs we're doing now, like Winning, these are songs that been in my phone for years, but when God tells you to wait, you have to wait. And I believe there are so many people that are giving the devil credit for killing the dream that patience actually killed. And if you get patience, God will do things in due season.
A new man when I look in my face. Under my feet, I put him back in his place.
In terms of God doing things that just he has to take credit for, you really came to light in the world during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's when we...
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
When we can't get together, we can't go to a concert, we can't...
And I think one of those things, I think it was God's sovereignty. I was upset with God, you know, because you got to think about it. I wait like he tells me to wait. 2009, wait 2 years. I wait till 2019. Drop the song, 2020, it goes dark. Everybody's quarantined. The day Big went #1, I couldn't even celebrate with my family and friends. So you have to understand, I said, God, why are you doing this to me? And I never forget, I heard the Lord in my spirit say, I'm giving you everything you prayed for without the people to praise you for it, to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. The pandemic had its trials, but there were some bright moments. You know, I got a chance to spend time with my kids. You know, you're moving so fast, you can re-identify who you are. And for me, man, just sitting at home, finding ways to communicate with the world. And by the time we came out the pandemic, everybody was asking, now who is that again? So it was fun.
Now your path to be obedient to God comes at a unique point from what I understand. I'm an Alpha.
Okay.
You're a Kappa. Correct?
That's right. That's right.
So you're in college and you're not necessarily being the preacher's kid.
Oh no,
Share.
I'm out there. Hey, I'm outside. And I'm in the club, Oak Tree Lounge. I'm in the club and I'm on the mic. Hey, throw it up. Throw it up. I mean, everybody rocking. And I clearly heard the Lord say, right crowd, wrong place. So much so that in the microphone, I said, what? Then I heard the Lord say again in my spirit, right crowd, wrong place. I walk out the club. This is a Thursday night. Walk out the club, go to my apartment, sit on the edge of the bed and just cry because I knew what it was. That next morning, I withdrew from school. You know, when I hear God, there is no delay. It's go. That Thursday night, I hear the Lord. That Friday morning, I drop out of college. I go home. My dad proceeds to punch me in the chest and say, I'm taking you back to school Monday. He wakes me up that Saturday and says, ride with me so we can talk. We get to his church leadership meeting and half of his leadership splits the church. That Sunday, he has nobody to sing. I lead worship and the rest is history.
The Wi-Fi busting ain't never interrupted, now what? 25, 45, that's why.
I'm either the luckiest person in the world or God. My strategy is, God, you tell me what to sing, I'm gonna sing it, and so far he's been blessed.
Demons don't like me, keep it P. They better keep it pushing, this is me.
Pastor Mike Jr.'s mixtape, Confetti and Conspiracies, the Amen mixtape, is available right now wherever you stream or purchase your music. And the 40th Annual Stellar Awards, a big anniversary, airs this Sunday, August 31st on the Black Entertainment television channel, hosted by BB and CeCe Winans. Be sure to also join us this evening for an all-new edition of Studio 5. We are on the red carpet at the Stellars talking to some of the guests and nominees. Plus, we are sitting down with recording artist Major, and he is sharing more about his life, his music, and his Stellar nominations. You can catch the new episode of Studio 5 on the CBN News Channel at 8 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app, or you can find it on YouTube. Coming up, a look at the premiere of CBN's latest documentary, The Revival Generation, about the move of God among young people in Generation Z. We've got the story for you when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. The world premiere of CBN's latest documentary comes tonight. The Revival Generation premieres at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. today, August 27th. The film highlights the incredible move of God in the hearts of college students on campuses across the country. The worldwide premiere will feature a special musical performance as well and a time of worship to celebrate what God is doing in Gen Z. CBN's Abigail Robertson shared more in an Instagram post about the film's release.
We have Tasha Cobbs-Leonard coming in to lead worship, and we believe this night is much more than just a film premiere. We want to celebrate how God is pouring out His Holy Spirit all over the world right now.
And the movie will be available on streaming and DVDs beginning tomorrow. You can watch How to Watch by going to revivalgeneration.com. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is hope. Know this, hope is not the absence of trouble. It's the knowing better is coming even in the center of trouble. Hold fast to hope and don't allow the facts of your present circumstances to become bigger than the truth of God's promises. With that word, make this a wonderful Wednesday and have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News channel at any time, as well as online, cbnnews.com. You can also always reach out and touch us at Facebook, Instagram, and X. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.